So things are getting weird. We talked about yesterday in the update video that things are probably going to start ramping up for season 2, but little did I expect not even 3 hours later after that video was published, we'd get what seemingly is our first teaser for season 2 and what's to follow. It looks like if any past indications could be used as examples, we may be heading towards some sort of event within season 2 for Warzone. So today we're going to be breaking down everything you need to know, what these indications are, and where we could be going with it in the future. As we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. Are you looking forward to or hoping for another event within Warzone? What would you like to see out of that? And as well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to that subscribe button. We're on that road to 400,000 subscribers, and we'll keep you up to date with all things Warzone, Cold War, and anything COD related. So if you're interested in joining the community, I'd love to have you. And finally, make sure you check out Gamer Advantage for the best blue light glasses on the market. Link in the description below. That said, let's jump into it. So first things first, it's possible that we edit in my own firsthand experience footage pending I can find this myself between as of the time of recording this and when this goes live, but the first credit that I ended up seeing here for this was from the Twitter user KaberCC. I'll leave him linked down there in the description below, but it seems like from his findings and from what I've seen elsewhere now happen to other people is that as of yesterday's slight update for Warzone, we now have on Rebirth Island what looks to happen randomly and very rarely a static overlay that'll come along with the sounds of what seems like an army marching and chanting, and then as well a bit of Morse code. Now if you want to experience this for yourself, it does seemingly happen at random, but it seems to be limited to the comms building where the bunker Easter egg is in Rebirth Island, so you want to be around that area and in that building to actually examine it. Now if you've never experienced this kind of stuff before, it's not something that you may immediately draw your mind to, because we have seen in recent times things like the jump scares from the Halloween Scream event most recently that could just give you a little bit of a jolt if you're unsuspecting. But I think this is absolutely a teaser for something bigger. And you may be wondering, okay, Jordan, why in the world would a brief 3-second on-screen Morse code message be anything that we should really read into? Surely there's not much meaning behind it. And while to a certain extent, I can agree that this particular message may not be a ton, but I'd heavily disagree with you if you said this wasn't the starting point for something set in motion that could mean a whole lot more down the road. If you remember back, Warzone actually has seen this happen before, where players had an on-screen static effect with a message behind it. Before we ever knew what Black Ops Cold War was, there was the speculation that we'd have a nuke event, and the storyline that would follow Warzone would somehow tie into the next game, and that then unnamed project was rumored to be revealed in Warzone, which it eventually was via the Know Your History event that took us on a bit of a multi-step process to seeing the events unfold. You went from collecting intel and earning smaller pieces of customization items, all the way to getting the exclusive SKS variant from Woods himself, only then to run into the stadium as a nuke was set to go off, or it sounded like a nuke or attack was going off. And then from there, you ended up getting the trailer for Black Ops Cold War, and you could experience this across a couple of different hours, across a couple of different days. Honestly, I loved the event. I thought it was pretty cool, but the event itself was the end point. The starting point, if you remember correctly, was the exact same situation. A static blurb that said, "Know Your History." That was the very same starting point, and it seems like the same fashion is now happening again with this teaser. By all accounts, this points towards something. As for what and when, that's still the biggest questions that remain. Season 2? Maybe. A new map following the rumors? Maybe. We'll just have to see. The one thing, though, that perplexes me is that this was found on Rebirth Island, not the mainline map of Verdansk. So if it's not for something in relation to a new map, it's odd that it's happening there and not in Verdansk. According to Eric Menard, another prominent member of the information community previously associated with the prominent leaking group, the Woo Lads, if you've been on the channel long enough, you'll remember their credibility. He and a few other sleuths in the community have gotten to hunting about this, and the initial footage seemed to play a Morse code bit that repeated the term E2. And if you look at E2 in the Warzone map grid, that's military base and near Bunker 11, which is where we got our first teasers of the nuke that was in Verdansk, likely though tethered to the now finished story arc of Modern Warfare and the Zakhaev plot that 141 stopped. But in recent days, there actually have been more discussion of another actual nuke event that could be happening, and as the catalyst for introducing a new map, or a setting shift at the very least, but that's still up in the air, that's still speculation. If it is Season 2 related though, that could be a smaller bit in regards to the payoff, but it would logically make sense as to why Rebirth Island was the focal point, since we just recently saw that continuation of the Season 1 intro cinematic. We saw the ending of that now finally, where Adler was captured by Stitch, and if you remember back to the lore of Stitch, He was tortured in the Gulag after his time on Rebirth Island, so what better way to extract your revenge than to torture Adler at Rebirth Island? But we might actually have that backwards, and we'll come back to that in a little bit. Additionally, if we follow the further findings of Eric Menard and co., the first findings of that code and coordinates of E2 may have been a bit off, as they found it again, their findings this time bringing them to G9, which is a grid square outside of the boundaries of play, down below where port meets the water in the southern bit of Verdansk. Now, also heard was D8 in some run-throughs, which would be near a bunker on the cliff sides beneath hills, so perhaps we're still missing a bit of information that is crucial here, or maybe this is all actually correct and we're getting multiple different grids. But the G9 theory ties to some idea of Season 2 a bit further, because there's a few more breadcrumb trails that you can follow. In Rebirth Island, apparently there can be heard communication from the ship Vodianoy communicating with the island, asking for permission to transport goods to Verdansk, and the cargo is secured and ready to leave. If you actually look off in the distance of Rebirth Island, that ship is the Vodianoy, and that ship also was a part of the ARG teasers for Season 1 pre-Rebirth Island launch, in which one of the things you could find in the website game was something that was in the files listed as Vodianoy, and it was a seeming glitched transmission where you're following this vessel, we didn't know it was the Vodianoy at the time, that was carrying Nova 6. So it's possible that that ship maybe comes to the map in Season 2, off in the distance. Maybe we see some playable area off in the water, which would be interesting since you can't swim, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there, maybe literally. But it'd be interesting to see the transport of Nova 6 that does then perhaps lead to some kind of event. Or, as we mentioned, that we may have had it backwards, maybe Stitch is taking Adler to Verdansk and not actually Rebirth. Now, I'm hopeful that it's not just some small payoff in terms of lore, because that would be such a low payoff or something reserved for what was previously a very big reveal, but I guess time will tell. Now, there also was another interesting tidbit of information that came out about yesterday's sort of smaller update for Warzone, one dealing with Warzone Rumble and a possible zombies crossover. But before we jump into that, I want to talk to you guys about my friends over at Gamer Advantage. Now, we've mentioned them here on the channel before. Best blue light glasses on the market, hands down if you ask me. Comfortable, no yellow hue in the lenses, and clinically proven to help cases of blue light vision effects and combat those effects of blue light. So if you sit on your phone scrolling, sit at a desk with a computer, or have any uses involving screens for long periods of time during the day like I do, these are absolutely worth every penny if you ask me. I've been using them for a few months now and never have loved a pair as much as these. So if you're interested in learning more or picking up a pair for yourself, use the link in the top of the description below and use code Espresso at checkout for 10% off your order. And as a wrap up to this kind of pitch here, I just want to say thank you guys for the continued support here on the channel and for checking these dudes out. I was notified that we're really close to breaking into their top 5 partners, and for that, I'm incredibly humbled by the support. So check out Gamer Advantage if you guys would like, but back to the discussion about the events. Now, this one's a little bit smaller in terms of potential implications that we know of right now, though could absolutely lead to something bigger. If you take a look at Warzone Rumble, you jump into that, it is a variation of sort of team deathmatch style play on various locations in Warzone. So kind of like Ground War in areas that Ground War maps weren't actually built out to be for Ground War. And again, if you don't own Modern Warfare, you can still play this. So it's a little bit of a combination of the two here, but at one point you can end up playing in an area that is hospital in Verdansk. And in one of the main waiting rooms, there is a trial machine from Cold War zombies in the lobby waiting room of Verdansk. Two entirely different things, two entirely different experiences put in together. Now, this could be something that is a bug. Maybe it happened by accident. It's not supposed to be there, but you can go up to it and interact with it to activate zombies, though nothing actually happens at that point. But what is interesting out of this is the fact that we've seen now for the last couple of weeks, game files indicating that we'll have a sort of open world zombies sort of situation happening here at this, where not directly tied with Warzone in Verdansk per se, but with the Fireteam maps, we see some open world style zombies play where you can explore all of that on Fireteam maps. So maybe this crossover is something to do with that theoried and rumored new map, which could be all of the Fireteam Dirty Bomb maps and what we still see to come as the new Warzone map, but with zombies on it. So kind of a stretch the other direction here, but certainly interesting for sure. That is interesting that it shows up now when we've seen these rumors about the potential new Warzone map having zombies functionality on it, and the discussion that maybe in the future, just like Blackout had zombies, the Warzone map will have zombies as well. So really curious, really interesting to see here at that, but that's everything that we've seen happen out of the last 24 hours or so that are really weird when it comes to Easter eggs, teasers, and what could be signs to the future. So that's going to wrap it up. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of all of this here? Are you looking forward to potentially a new event within Warzone? Are you looking forward to maybe zombies coming to Warzone in some capacity? Whatever it is, feel free to let me know. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Warzone, Cold War, and anything COD related. We'll keep you to date with all of it. So if you're interested, make sure to hit the subscribe button. If you also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, there's the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.